Do your consumer marketing efforts feel complicated? Experian Automotive delivers data-driven marketing solutions to find new customers and keep loyal ones. Drive measurable results with trusted data and expert support. Learn more at Experian.com/automotive.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. I'm Jamie Butters, Executive Editor of Automotive News in Detroit.
And I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, it's official. Antonio Filosa is the new CEO of Stellantis. Nissan looks for a $7 billion boost with backing from the UK. And Ford recalls more than 1 million vehicles in the US and Canada. Plus, Presidio Group President George Karolis joins the show to talk about the state of the dealership buy-sell market.
We're actually seeing a rapid, more robust pace of M&A, at least in our book of business.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry.
The 6-month search for a new Stellantis CEO is over. The automaker announced that America's COO Antonio Filosa will replace Carlos Tavares, who resigned in December. The 51-year-old Filosa will start in his new position June 23rd. Stellantis says it made the decision based on Filosa's proven track record of hands-on success during his more than 25 years in the automotive industry. He takes charge as Stellantis tries to reverse slumping sales and rebuild damaged relationships with dealers, suppliers, and unions that eroded during Tavares' tenure. The automaker says Filosa will announce a new leadership team on June 23rd.
Nissan is seeking to raise more than $7 billion from debt and asset sales to keep operations on track. That's according to internal documents seen by Bloomberg News. The struggling Japanese automaker faces a huge loan repayment wall next year. It plans to issue as much as 630 billion yen in convertible securities and bonds, including high-yielding US dollar and euro notes. Nissan also plans to take out a $1.4 billion syndicated loan, which would be guaranteed by UK Export Finance. Nissan operates Britain's largest automaking hub. On top of that, Nissan seeks to sell parts of the stakes it owns in Renault and battery maker AESC Group, as well as plants in South Africa and Mexico. Yesterday on the show, we reported that Nissan is also considering a sale of its global headquarters building in Yokohama.
New vehicle shoppers' average monthly payments will likely be the highest on record for May. That's according to a recent J.D. Power forecast. The firm's preliminary May auto retail data anticipated the month would end with a $748 monthly payment on average for new vehicles. That would be up $21 year over year. They were on track to show an average interest rate of 6.9%.
And Ford is recalling more than 1 million vehicles in the U.S. over an issue with rear-view cameras. NHTSA says a software error may cause the rear-view camera image to delay, freeze, or not display, increasing the risk of a crash. Transport Canada says Ford is recalling an additional 159,000 vehicles in Canada. Ford says it's aware of one allegation of a minor crash resulting in property damage tied to the issue. And those are today's headlines. So, Jamie, finally, after 6 months, Stellantis has named Antonio Filosa CEO. Is it safe to say he's the perfect fit to get the company back on track?
Well, he seems to be the best choice available. I think if it was a perfect fit, maybe it would have been a quicker decision. But he's done a good job stabilizing things in North America, trying to repair relations, especially with dealers. He's had some good success with that so far. So we'll see. He's got a big job. He's got to put his new team in place and then be ready to hit the ground running. Probably need to pare back some brands globally, at least from some markets. And of course, really get the right people and the right products in place to get Ram and Jeep firing on all cylinders again.
Gotcha. Coming up, Presidio President George Karolis joins the show to discuss the state of the dealership buy-sell market amid tariffs. That's next on Daily Drive.
The 2025 Automotive Golf Classic is coming up soon, raising funds for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan. Players will tee off Monday, June 16th at St. John's Resort in Plymouth, Michigan.
Attendees will get exclusive access to the third annual Automotive News Supplier Panel discussion just prior to tee time at 9 a.m. This year's remarks will feature Paul Thomas, president of Bosch North America, along with Colin Shaw, president of MEMA Original Equipment Suppliers. The executive guests will discuss challenges for suppliers stemming from the current trade landscape, new U.S. tariffs, and other critical issues facing the supply chain.
For more information about this event, reach out to Tiffany Sula at the Boys and Girls Clubs at tsula@bgcsm.org or to Philip Nussel, AGC Executive Chairman at pnussel@crane.com.
Are you an automotive marketer navigating today's rapidly evolving landscape? Finding new customers and nurturing existing relationships can feel like a complex journey. But what if you had a powerful engine fueled by trusted data to guide your way? That's where Experian Automotive comes in. We understand the challenges you face. Today's personalized consumer journeys demand intelligent planning and precise execution. That's why we offer the Experian Marketing Engine, a coordinated suite of data-driven solutions designed to help you develop, execute, and most importantly, measure effective marketing campaigns. At the heart of our solutions is Experian's trusted data and a dedicated automotive team committed to your success. We empower you to drive measurable results with unique data insights, including identity solutions to help you better connect with your ideal customers with greater accuracy by cleaning and enriching your first-party data. Consumer and market insights helps you gain a deeper understanding of market trends and consumer behavior, enabling you to better target consumers. Targeted audiences to help you pinpoint and target the right prospects at the right time with the right message. Better data truly connects you to better results. Stop guessing and start driving measurable impact with Experian Automotive. Ready to transform your automotive marketing? Visit Experian.com/automotive to learn how our data-driven solutions can help you find new customers, keep loyal ones, and navigate the road ahead with confidence. That's Experian.com/automotive. Take control of your marketing journey today.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Jamie Butters with Kellen Walker. While tariffs have frozen many investments for automakers and suppliers this year, retailers say they're still making deals at a steady clip. Presidio Group facilitates mergers and acquisitions in the auto dealership space. The company's president, George Karolis, recently visited us here at Automotive News offices in Detroit. We talked about what he's seeing and whether he thinks it will last. George Karolis, welcome to Daily Drive.
Thanks for having me, Jamie. Glad to be here.
Great to have you here in Detroit, in our studios. I've been wanting to talk to you because you're one of the leading, buy-sell, mergers and acquisitions advisors in the dealer space. And I keep hearing and reading about how M&A is really freezing up throughout really the whole global economy. But every time I talk to people in auto retail, they're like, nope, still cooking. What are you seeing? Is it still rolling along?
It is. Yeah, we're not seeing that trend that you just talked about in auto retail. We're actually seeing the opposite. We're seeing the constantly resilient dealer excited about the business, generally looking past the issues that the uncertainty around tariffs, which seem to be calming down every day with the news cycle. We're seeing a robust market for M&A. It was a little slow in the first quarter, but that actually related to the election in late last year. And so when the deal making cadence, when there was a little uncertainty leading up to the election for a few months, and typically it takes 3 to 6 months, for a deal to get consummated and closed. And so the first quarter sort of slight slowdown is really the result of that, not the tariffs. We're actually seeing a rapid, more robust pace of M&A, at least in our book of business. And we expect a lot of closings the rest of the year. And we have a lot of deals at market as well on top of that.
A lot of investors, private and public, see auto dealerships as a great place to invest. But it seems like there maybe been some pent-up supply, if that's the right way to look at it. But first, a lot of people who maybe were thinking about retiring but held off because of the big profits during COVID times, and then the uncertainty during the election last year. Are there a lot of deals that are just like itching to happen?
With 8,000 dealers, there's everyone has a different state that they're in. There's, of course, the average age of the dealer is in the 70s. I forget the actual number. Is there succession? Is there not? The industry is still very fragmented. Less than 10% owned by the publics, more than 90% owned by privates. The top 150 dealer group ownership has grown over the years and is in the 20% range now. So that's grown. So we're seeing larger private dealers get larger, but generally speaking, with again, 8-ish thousand dealers, there's always a cadence of some dealers that are retiring that don't have succession, some that have succession that may want to take some money off the table, health issues, purely financial issues. So, don't really see that moving or changing much. We just kind of expect that to continue.
How are dealers, whether they're buyers or sellers or just operators, how are they looking at the economy at this point in 2025?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, the last month or so, March in particular, was pretty good for dealers. There was tariff-free inventory and consumer wanting to potentially jump on that before tariffs could have hit. So dealers have done well in the short term and continue to do well. There was a little pull forward there, but dealers are taking a long-term approach to this, and as they do typically, and are quite resilient. We saw with our partnership with NCM, the first quarter private dealer data representing over 4,000 dealers, we saw an uptick. We saw an increase in profitability, actually around 4%, and that's versus the first quarter of last year. But we saw that stratified quite differently across segments. We saw luxury close to 18% increase in profitability. So luxury market do well, import market do quite well, around 6% increase in profitability. And that might have been dragged down by one random, that could have been even better across the Toyota, Subarus, and Hondas of the world. The domestics were off. That was probably driven by Stellantis and a little softness there with Stellantis still. But overall, we saw a great increase in profitability and a leveling off of potential stabilization of the downtrend that we saw that started in 2023 for a couple of years as margins came down. We're seeing fixed operations be a bright spot, service and parts that grew profitability around 6% in the first quarter. And so we're seeing some real positivity there, and we're seeing the resilient dealer evolve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine that first quarter, especially with the import brands, you didn't have to advertise a lot. A lot of consumers were coming in and ready to buy as you said, the non-tariffed inventory, anxious about what might be to come. But you raised a good point about the fixed ops. I mean, part of the reason dealers are able to be so reliably profitable is because they really run a portfolio business with new and used and service and maybe collision and of course F&I. What are you seeing in those other parts of the business? How are they trying to lean into those, maybe with technology and stuff to improve?
They're saying technology is a huge force right now, and there are a ton of new entrants in the space. A lot of existing businesses that have developed or in development of great technology to support the dealer model. Look, a lot of dealers are looking for two things. They're looking for how to better make the process more efficient for the customer, and then also how to, be more efficient on the employee side. And we're seeing AI. AI is all the rage everywhere, but AI really come into the space. We've got a client, Stella AI, that's more on the telephony service side. Mm-hmm. That's really helping businesses. So we've seen across the board a lot of tech be at the forefront, and that means investment though for dealers as well. And you're having to, as a dealer, constantly invest in your business, invest in the latest technology to become more efficient, to weather the storms, to help you, sell more cars and take care of your customers better and ultimately become more profitable. Tech is a huge piece of that. That's going to continue well into the future. And we're going to see, I think, that investment accelerate from a lot of dealers.
Stella uses pretty cool voice recognition or voice understanding, software, voice comprehension software, and really good for scheduling service appointments. I think is a lot of what it's used for. Where else do you see AI maybe coming into real everyday retail operations?
Yeah, probably, if we can continue to work on getting the time to when a customer steps on the lot to walks out with their vehicle, getting that more efficient. I think AI could play a role in that, making the customer experience a lot better, moving the pace of the sale to a little bit quicker. The pace is probably one area. I think, on the diagnostic side, proactive diagnostic side on the service side, right? And helping technicians be more efficient, helping really troubleshoot and work on the vehicles. There's a lot of tech that's involved on the vehicle side on repairs and troubleshooting and plugging vehicles in to diagnose them. And so I think AI will probably play a role there. The tech side and the interaction on the sales side with customers. I mean, I think it's unlimited. AI is really revolutionizing. We're see a lot more of that to come.
Anything that expedites the in-store part of the process is going to be welcomed by consumers, probably by store managers or salespeople themselves.
That's right. That's why Carvana has done well because of their experience from the customer, right? They still face challenges as all dealers do on the inventory side, and they have more brick and mortar than some think, but they're the customer experience, and then we're seeing that with Amazon, right? Amazon's on the scene. We just had them at our conference, and I think their mantra right now is trying to make a better experience for the customer.
It's still pretty early days with Amazon trying to get the used cars out there and maybe grow beyond some Hyundai dealers into some new brands. But there's been, let's say, a little bit of anxiety maybe among dealers, at least over the year and a half since that Hyundai Amazon partnership was first announced. Is Amazon trying to take over auto retail like they dominate book selling for a while? But it's evolved. It's still pretty early days, but how is it evolving and how's it being taken by dealers now that they've been around doing this for a little while?
I think it's a little early to tell still, but everything we saw them in New York at the ADA Power Forum, we saw they were on stage at our conference last week in Dallas. And again, it's a little early, but it does seem like they're focused on, the partnering with dealers and improving the process, making the process more efficient, giving choices to customers, but ultimately working through the dealer, which hopefully will be good for the dealer. All indications are there right now.
That certainly seems to be the model. Is the experience, what you're hearing from dealers, that it does really help speed things up, consumers doing kind of a lot of the work themselves to sell themselves the car and the F&I?
Anecdotally, yeah. I mean, F&I is interesting, right? That's F&I is hard to solve for. So I think they're working through the kinks there. But anecdotally, Amazon's a great e-commerce giant, the biggest, the best. They try to make it easy for the consumer. So they're trying to do that here.
Well, we look forward to seeing how that plays out. We know that you're going to keep track of it. And of course, we look forward to your quarterly reports that tell us how dealers are doing, how their bottom line is looking, because that is so important throughout the industry. George Karolis, president of Presidio Group, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jamie. Great to be here.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Jamie Butters.
And I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own Vince Bond Jr. and Paige Hodder for their reporting for today's podcast. We also have reporting from Luca Schiferi and Peter Siegel of our sibling publication, Automotive News Europe. You can get the latest news on retail M&A, executive hires, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com.
Come back tomorrow for a conversation with Stephen Jenkins of Magna Electronics about where suppliers fit into the future of self-driving technology.
Thinking about an architecture as a vehicle architecture rather than trying to break it down into too many domains helps you a lot as well. It really does support this kind of scalability.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.